Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu pakhair agale ni hao chune shumme washmale. Ohio Gonzaimas. Guten Morgen. Hola, bonjour, privet, kaifa hal? Hale shuma chatore. Ahlan wa sahlan. Marhaba. Buna mucho gracias. Swabi ab bhalli kare aya hosh ke alde nanayo sayo khuyamora chibato chi hal jod kali mera khairutan. And a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PT World and are watching World this morning. But a very overcast conditions over here in Islamabad. I happen to be Shahzad Hasan Khan. And with me, I'm really lucky, I've been joined by my very well-known colleague who happens to be Miss Hajra Satti. Hello Hajra, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you so much, Jazakallah khair, for introducing me, Shahzad. So we have already entered the final leg of the Ramadan. Yep. It's the third Ashura already, and you know, Eid is just around the corner. And like you mentioned that, you know, Islamabad, the weather of Islamabad is experiencing or witnessing a blooming spring, but at the same time, we sometimes feel that, you know, winters might have to stay a little bit, but Met Office predicts rain thunderstorm from 25th to 27th of March. Met Office has predicted rain, wind and thunderstorm with few hailstorm and snowfall over high mountains from 25th to 27th March 20. A strong westerly wave is likely to approach western and upper parts of the country on 24th of the March and affect upper and central parts of the country from 25th till 27th.
And you know, looking at the weather, it did look like as if it was the night of decree last night as well. So I'm not sure, you know, it looked like and I felt like it as well. So please make sure that you put maximum effort in your ibadah and qiyam. But with this, since we're talking about weather, the Japan Meteorological Agency officially announced the start of the cherry blossom season in the capital Tokyo after observing a benchmark tree at Yasukuni Shrine. Weather officials annually announce the start of the sakura season in Tokyo after confirming 5 to 6 flowers blossoming on the benchmark tree, and the announcement of this year came 5 days earlier than last year. The iconic flower has been beloved by the people of Japan for centuries and recently has been enticing an increasing number of foreign visitors during the cherry blossom season. Wow. I mean, so they have a benchmark tree. Right. Uske upar niklenge phool, to phir uske baad ji cherry blossom season.
I think you can witness the same cherry blossom season in Islamabad too and in Hunza too. It's beautiful there. So now moving on to International Purple Day. International Purple Day is observed every year on 26th of March to raise awareness about the epilepsy. The day was founded in 2008 by 8-year-old Cassidy Megan from Canada, who wanted to raise awareness about people with epilepsy and let them know that they were not alone. She chose the color purple because lavender is internationally recognized as the flower of epilepsy. On this day, people around the world are invited to wear purple and host events in support of epilepsy and awareness. And speaking of the awareness, I would want to feature a recipe, and I would want the entire team to feature a recipe. And Shahzad has also made some efforts in this particular regard. That is a very success story from the KDSP, which is the Brown syndrome, a girl, and she has made an interesting brownie. And Food Fusion has featured that on their page. And let's go and let's take a look at how to make that recipe. And it is such an inspiring success story. So let's go and let's take a look.
This is Alina and she's going to be our chef today. She's a student at the KDSP. KDSP is a one-stop solution for individuals with Down syndrome and their families. आपको पता है अलीना बहुत ही जबरदस्त फज ब्राउनीज बनाती हैं. इनके घर वालों को तो पसंद है ही, मगर जब भी KDSP का कोई स्टॉल लगता है वो मिनटों में सेल हो जाती है. आज इन्हीं ब्राउनीज की सीक्रेट रेसिपी हमारे साथ शेयर करने वाली है जो कि इन्होंने मास्टर की हुई है. ओवर टू अलीना एंड आई एम आउट.
चले ऐसे पेस्ट स्टार्ट के लिए पहले एग, sugar, brown sugar, coffee, salt, sauce. Now we mix.
Good job, Alina. Good job.
Done.
आपने ब्राउनी बनाने कहाँ से सीखी?
मैंने टीचर से, म्यूजियम से. असम भाई, आप बनाने आते हैं?
बेटा मुझे ब्राउनी बनाना आती तो है, मगर जैसी आप बनाती हैं, आई एम रियली क्यूरियस कि आप कैसे बनाती हैं, बिकॉज मैंने ऐसी कभी नहीं खाई.
Butter, turkish. My content. Miss. Done. Done. Meda. Cook bottle. Done.
अलीना को सिर्फ कुकिंग नहीं, साफ सुथरे एनवायरनमेंट में कुकिंग करने का शौक है. शी इज एक्चुअली क्लीनिंग द होल थिंग.
केक पसंद है मुझे. मैं स्कूल हूँ. Let me. रोल पदर यदि हसन भाई प्लीज मेरे साथ हेल्प कीजिए।
इसमें डालने के लिए हेल्प करनी है
जी
ये मैंने यहाँ पे रख दिया बोल को होल्ड करूंगा आप स्पून से बैटर डाल दीजिएगा कितना यमी है ना अलीना मेरी टीम बड़ी परफेक्ट है ना अलीना
जी
तो इसे स्प्रेड कर देना है इसको डन डन आपने उसको उठा के टक टक के मारना है ठीक है
जाते मैं तुझे से सुखियो नोटे है
नाइस वेरी नाइस
डन चले बेक कीजिए कहाँ डन
अलीना ने कुछ टिप्स दिए हैं मैं बिल्कुल वैसे कर रहा हूँ इक्वल स्क्वायर्स बनाने हमने ये होती है सिग्नेचर फजी ब्राउनी
हसन भाई ये कैसे बनाई है
बहुत अमेजिंग बना है
थैंक यू
Alina, you made these fantastic brownies and now you're part of the food fusion family.
Wow, that is wonderful. And now I know that demands on your sadqa are great, but if you are looking to give the charities sadqa or zakat, please consider KDSP because they are doing a wonderful job and Alina is their success story.
Exactly, and Hajra, I would want to add over here that imagine that with this video, you know, there's a message that has been given and it's such an important message that there needs to be inclusivity in society, and ASAD has done a great deal for that, I think, in order to give away that message that, hey, you know what, we need to include our children, probably people with Down syndrome as well, you know, there are other challenges which people are facing, and that everybody needs to come together and enjoy. But in addition to this, Hajra, I think it is very important that we kind of explore the, you know, stories in culinary culture, and there's a reason. Now imagine that there are shared traditions, there are practices and values surrounding food preparations. To kind of unfold this conversation, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by Mr. ASAD MEMON, who happens to be the founder CEO of Food Fusion. Hello ASAD, assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you feeling today?
Walaikum salam, alhamdulillah, I'm all good.
Asad, you are doing a brilliant job. I am a big fan of Food Fusion and I am a fan of Food Fusion since its inception. So I think, Asad, there are two type of cooks who are very particular about their recipes, not divulging it at all, and one, you know, who are very generous in divulging their recipes, right? So Asad, what made you to venture into this field? And you have been very consistent with this content creation and food blogging. How do you keep up with this?
And as they say, passion, if you have passion to do something, it doesn't seem like work. So we enjoy every bit of it, and the feedback that we get from our fans makes us get up every day and do something new.
Right, and Asad, you've also partnered up with the KDSP and, you know, have also other brilliant initiatives, right? So what motivates you to partner up with these organizations, and please tell us about the stories that you bring that to in the culinary world, because whenever we are making the recipes, it is passed down from generation to generation. There are stories involved in those recipes. How do you feel about it?
See, as they say, with great power comes great responsibility. And everything that we do with great responsibility. We make sure that, you know, every single recipe that is out there is tried, tested, and it also tells a story. You are very right that, you know, food is what connects us. Food has no language, food has no boundaries, and that's how we connect with each other. Especially in Pakistan, it's a very strong part of our culture, and we felt that, you know, if someone has Down syndrome, then it doesn't mean that they cannot cook. And you know, organizations like KDSP are proving that. They have I went to their facility. I was thoroughly impressed, and they're an entire training kitchen where kids are being trained. They're being taught cooking skills and other life skills as well. So
Exactly.
I was very keen to see that, and I wanted to find out a way of, showing that to the world, because we have international reach. Everyone, watches our content, and every single time we are sharing
And Asad,
recipes. But no, yeah.
And Asad, you've done it beautifully well, and which is why, you know, before introducing you, we kind of got what you were trying to do over there. So obviously it's a noble cause as well, which you have indulged into, and that too through culinary art. Now, if we are to kind of talk about culinary art, where we actually spoke about, you know, how they share traditions, practices, values, and how, you know, you eat in a social group kind of represents. And, you know, it will certainly, you know, vary from region to region. So if I am to ask you, what or how do we refer to as culinary art in the South Asian region, what would you like to share?
Well, it's more of a daily thing. Art it is definitely an art, but it's an every single day thing. It's culinary. Every household has a culinary artist, their mother, their father, anyone who really cooks and enjoys cooking. I think the artist in the culinary world is what brings people together, and that's what really matters at the end of the day. I think if you talk about Pakistan, there's a lot to be done. We everyone thinks as engineering, doctor, or being a lawyer as a profession, but
Yeah.
no one really thinks about becoming a chef or becoming a culinary artist, as you said.
Exactly.
I think you have broken that stereotype. I must add that. And I've also been consistently watching your recipes because the food is so enticing, it's so captivating. And I've seen the evolution. So with the influence of, Turkish pop culture gaining traction in Pakistan, I've seen that how it influenced your recipes. So you're also sharing baklava recipes, you're sharing kunafa recipes. So Asad, do
Correct.
you believe that the culinary or the recipes are the edible continuation of the heritage and it keeps on evolving?
Yes, definitely. See, our name fusion. So we are not just doing fusion of food; it's fusion of
Yep.
cultures. It is a very strong connection that we are building. So if you're trying kunafa, you are showing the roots of the dish coming from if you're trying hummus, you are showing roots of the dish as well, right? And
Ji, ji.
that's how the stories are shared and told. And now very recently we've started talking in our videos as well, just like the video that you saw for KDSP.
Ji, ji.
I was there myself, and the human touch is there, so we connect with the audience on a global level and bringing cultures together.
And that's essential to do as well, because imagine
Absolutely.
that, that if even if we are to kind of speak about recipes, they will actually, kind of take you back to the origin, so may it be South Asian subcontinent, we'll see how there's more masala in it, and we do
Correct.
know for a fact that how your eating habits is because of the climate around you or the geographical
Correct.
location that you are
Correct.
placed in. So if we are to kind of speak about it, for example, you go to colder places where there's coffee is really common. You come to Pakistan, chai is very common. Cha pee lo, jithe jao, cha pee lo, lassi pee lo. So how do you think that,
Correct.
that this culinary culture, because some way or one way, I do feel disturbed that, that we always smell about or, will always smell of masalas. And that's how people identify us in the outside world, outside Pakistan, that you might be Pakistani or, from that region. Do you think that these recipes need to evolve with time?
Yes, see, and of course, we have our roots, we have our culture, we love masalas, we like spicy food. Not just, outside Pakistan, but if you just remain within Pakistan, Karachi has a different taste palette, Lahore has a different taste palette, Peshawar has a different taste palette. Everyone has their own. But what we are trying to do here is bring those cultures, those taste palettes together. So I give you a simple example.
Sure.
We went to Turkey, we tried their tasty kebab, and of
Oh,
course
yes.
it was looking mouth watery, and but when I tasted it, I didn't like it because it was so bland. So
Same,
we came
same,
back.
Exactly.
same. Yeah.
We came, so I came back. I added some masala and recreated the dish, and we have tandoori tasty kebab. So that is what really evolves the dish. And when more and more people want to adapt or understand the local culture, they do some fusion, right? And that's where the word food fusion comes from, and we stay true to that name.
Right, and Asad, so since you mentioned that you have a global audience, right? And I think the recipes we share, the recipes we make, it is also an addition of the course of our lives, how we passed it. And do you feel that with the evolution of social media, and you've been very consistent, your brand is growing and growing, alhamdulillah,
Alhamdulillah.
that you have shattered, very stereotype perception of Pakistan, because, people usually used to look at Pakistan through the lens of either terrorism or extremism, and you have bridged
Yes.
that gap or shattered that stereotype through your culinary journey. How was the global response?
See, I'm extremely proud to become that Food Fusion is a Pakistani channel. We do not shy away from saying that we're not a Pakistani. A lot of content creators try and hide behind the camera and not disclose where they're from just to get that international recognition. Whereas we would love to talk about Food Fusion being a Pakistani channel, and it is being very well received. We have a lot of fans. Whenever we travel, it is not, unusual for us to people coming out over us and meeting us saying that, you're doing a great job. I learned cooking from you. I married this Pakistani man, and now I know how to make biryani for him. You know, all this
Wonderful.
all this, again, that's another fusion of cultures, right? So we're really proud of doing this. And not only that, my mission is to portray and to show our country to the world. We even did a travel series for Hunza. The entire Food
Wow.
Fusion team went to Hunza, and we invited the world to come to our
And
country
we're
and
certainly
visit us.
proud of you for doing that. But now I do believe that, the most important question over here is, because we do believe in the art of storytelling. So I was doing this program for Chinese television, and it was supposed to be on air in China. For all of those Chinese engineers who were working over here at the, Karakoram Highway, so we actually hired a Chinese chef from a very popular restaurant over in Islamabad. We took him there and we cooked Chinese food. Now imagine that there were thousands of Chinese sitting right in front of us, and as soon as we served them food, they started to spit it out because that's not authentic Chinese. So whenever you, for example, if you're making kunafa, if you're making any other recipe, from a global perspective, how would you make sure that you include ingredients which actually kind of refer to their geographical background?
So yeah, there too. That's a very interesting question. So whenever we attempt a recipe, we always have the classic first, and then we do the fusion. So you have that entire palette with us. So we test the recipe. We do the classic version first, which has the original, most authentic way of making it, and then we do our fusion. So that if someone says that this is not the original one, we can always refer them to the original one, and we say that this is the fusion version of that same recipe. And that's how it happens. And of course, you have to give that disclaimer before sharing the food or the food with the people who you think will like it. Like the example of Chinese, like when we have in Chinese in Pakistan, there's no such thing as chicken Manchurian in China. It doesn't come
True.
from China. It's actually Indo-Chinese recipe, and that's what we
Absolutely.
frequently confuse with.
Right, and Asad, one last question before we wrap up this segment, and that is, people who don't share this recipe, I think there is this idea of ownership, right? And do you feel that, recipes can be plagiarized or they can be even stolen, or it's just a, global heritage of the mankind or humanity in general?
And it's mainly the way you tell the story. It depends on if your mother is making something in a certain way, the trackability of a recipe is extremely difficult. You cannot put your hand on that, this is my recipe, because the recipe that you did also came from somewhere. Your grandmother told you, your grandmother told was learned it from somewhere else. So it just what really matters is how you show it, how you tell that story, and that really matters. We preserve a lot of recipes. My mother's recipe, I even have 100-year-old recipe which is preserved in a very nice video. We do
Wow.
that. It's about how we store, how we share the story.
Exactly.
Right,
Thank you
and
so much
thank
for
you so
wrapping it
much.
up so beautifully well, Asad, and thank you so much for being with us. Please keep on making Pakistan more proud. And Hajra, I think at this point, I would want to kind of ask you this: how I've seen my sisters, even they wouldn't want to wear the same dress, on the same day. How they
Right.
are reluctant to share recipes. Why do you think that there is this culture? Because I think with men, it does not matter.
I think I mentioned it because this
Yeah.
is the idea of ownership, and probably that is why they're very particular. But I think they've also seen another trend within this food blogging is that people, the idea of belongingness or the longingness. A lot of people, they are going in a rural setting, right? And we've shown that recipe. They are lush green fields and they are cooking their food in the earthen
Yeah.
pots. So there is idea of longing and belonging, that we need to revert to the natural way of the system, how our ancestor used to cook. And the
Exactly.
taste of that, earthen pot or mitti ke bartan ka khana was way more different than this cooker or plastic ware sort of the
Yeah,
product.
that
So,
taste was always different for everybody who's
Right.
out there. While we are actually kind of making
Right.
sure that we represent Pakistan in every front and every walk of life, we would certainly want to share about people who have represented Pakistan once, and their work still
Absolutely.
lives in our hearts as well. So the renowned dramatist, playwright, and scriptwriter Hasina Moin is being remembered today on her third death anniversary. Hasina was born in Kanpur and received her early education in her ancestral region. She then moved to Karachi in the 1950s, where she graduated from the Billy David from the center said it was, yeah, So, inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun, and Hasina Muin Saiba, thank you so much for your contribution, and may your soul rest in peace. Ameen, summa ameen.
And since you mentioned that Eid is just around the corner, so women are very particular, and not just women. I see that this trend is also evolving to incorporate men into its wave too. That they're particular about their skin care, and obviously now with a lot of
But
skincare
before
practices
Hajra
going
kind of
on.
moving on to that, I think what we need to do is that
We need to show people around, and how Ramadan is celebrated. So for that, we have chosen, I would say, an area that Shahzad is very particularly fond of it, and that is Dubai. So let's go and let's take a look at how Ramadan is celebrated in Dubai.
Let's do it.
Right, and now we will segue into a very interesting conversation, and the conversation relates to our skincare regime and how to bring back that glow because of the Ramadan, because of our changed dietary habits, that might impact our skincare, right? So in order to unfold the conversation, we are very glad we have been joined by Dr. SAFIA HABIB. She happens to be a consultant dermatologist. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Walaikum assalam. How are you too?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much. Look at, because we look after our skins like really well, and in order for people to kind of do the same, what would you recommend for them? Because it's going to be Eid, everybody wants to look nicer, everybody wants this glow to be on their face, no matter kis tarah ki baatein wo karte hain, haraketein karte hain, lekin muh chamakna chahiye. Ji, please.
As Ramzan is about to be finished very soon, and Eid is here, and we are all trying our best to make this celebration to the fullest, or we are like preparing for the Eid dishes, menus, and we have already done with the shopping, with clothes and things. But the most important thing is your health and your skin and your internal health.
True.
That matters the most, because even if you are wearing a very costly, maybe designer outfit, and your skin is not looking good and you're not feeling energized and refreshed and relaxed, so what's the fun in spending the money on those things? So your health, internal health plus skin health matters the most, because it is us. It is like we are what our bodies are. And then we are what we eat. So during the Ramzan, I hope everyone has been eating healthy and looking after their not you.
Lot of pakoras and kachoris and samosas.
But I think, Dr. Safia, one of the things that might get a hit in Ramadan is the dehydration that we might face, right? Because obviously we are fasting, we are unable to drink as much of a water as normally in a normal days we should do, right? So what are some of the good hacks that you would like to give out to the audiences out there, and especially on the Eid day, because there's just such a change of routine in terms of your dietary habits, from eating nothing at all to eating so many
all
things.
All throughout the day, yes. After breaking your fast in the evening, you should maximize your fluid intakes. You can take them, but the best way is to drink plenty of normal water. You shouldn't be like taking in lots of sweet waters and fizzy drinks, because they help you not only like making your skin age faster, also they are not bad for your internal health, especially if you are diabetic or you are not in your maximum health. So normal water is the best. You should aim for at least 7-8 glasses of water. You can take milk drinks, milkshakes and things, and you can have like green teas and things like that. But excessive of caffeine and coffees and tea, they also cause dehydration and caffeinated drinks. So normal water is the best for dehydration.
Thank you so much for saying that. And obviously there's an industry out there as well where they want to sell their drinks by saying, this will give you, I don't know, wings, and this will give you so much of whatnot. So please make sure that you put in your research. But there's one more aspect about skin which I've realized myself, and that is that every day after gym, I'll take 5 to 10 minutes of sauna and then move into the steam room. Now, with your skin sweating too much is something which will actually give you that glow. That's something that I've always kind of witnessed, that after my steam bath, I've always seen that, that there's a different glow on the skin, because for whatever mud is on the face, you're working throughout the day, it actually helps. How important it is for your skin to sweat?
It is important because that's the way skin maintains the internal temperature. Okay, and most of the waste products, some of them are excreted through your sweating. So, and when you sweat, like you said, when you are exercising or you are in sauna or you are doing some kind of gym work, that increases the blood flow to the skin, and that's very important for skin glow. That's what you are saying. When you exercise or you do some strenuous kind of movements, so the blood flow increases and that gives the glow. It's important because it takes all the nutrients from your body to the cells of the skin and brings back all the waste products. So obviously the skin cells are more hydrated, they are more nourished, and they give a glow and a fresh feel to the skin.
And I think this is, I would say, one of the very unfortunate thing of this present digital century is that, the reduced element of mobility in our lives that is causing a lot of skin problems in the first place.
So, 5 kilometer jogging kar le.
Right.
Glowing glow.
Right. Exactly. And make sure that you make a time out of it, right? Because we're scrolling all the time on the social media. Uske liye time hai, but looking after yourself is essentially important. But Dr. Safia, there's one stream of thought, and I have heard this opinion from some people, from doctors, physicians, especially on the social media, and that is that you need to drink as much water as your body is asking you for, right? If you're feeling thirsty, then you need to drink it, right?
Obviously.
But then there's another opinion which says that you need to drink water, I think probably 2 liters or something like that, right? And you need to nourish or replenish your body with that. What is your opinion?
No, excess of nothing is good. Okay, everything should be in moderation. You can't drink like 3-4 liters of water if you are not sweating, if you are not living in a hot climate. There is no fun in drinking excess water. That is also not helpful. That's not also healthy.
That's damaging as well.
Yes, exactly. So everything should be in balance. If you are living in a hot climate, or you are working out, or you are moving around much more and you are sweating, so there is a reason you should take extra
Ramadan,
water.
what do you recommend? So for example, we're not sweating that much because weather is really pleasant, right?
Weather is moderate.
And after iftar, obviously the time is like, it's like after the sunset. So, how receptive is our body for, how many take of the water?
Initially, when you break the fast, you should take 1 or 2 glasses of water, or the any kind of juice, fresh juice, obviously. But after the meal, you should give a gap so that the meal is digested, because water impedes the digestion process. And after that, you can put your alarm on, or use something like that, so that you can have at least 5-6 glasses of water.
Exactly. And it totally depends on what you're actually consuming in iftar, because after that it makes you feel a little more thirsty. And once again, time for a story. So I was traveling on a UK motorway with a doctor, and I was consuming a lot of water, and because he was driving, I would ask him every now and then that I need to use the restroom. And then, I don't know whether, he was actually a little
That's
angry.
another disadvantage of drinking too much water.
So I was like, I don't know whether he was angry or not, but after the third stop, he was like, you know what? I was like, what? He's like, you're drinking too much of water, and that's damaging as well. So I was like, okay, thank you so much for kind of making me aware about that. But while coming back to you, now these days, there's so many treatments available. Skin whitening, skin tightening, Botox, fillers, and whatnot. What is that one treatment which you would recommend for people कि यार अच्छा अगर बिल्कुल ही glow नहीं आ रहा तो ये treatment करा लो?
Okay, so basically, ideally, the treatment should be started a few weeks before if you are preparing your skin for Eid. But now that those 2-3 weeks time is gone, you can opt for the treatments that give hydration to your skin and glow to your skin. They should not be very invasive, so that you should not have bruises and swellings on your face on the Eid day. They should be for hydration, plumping up effect, and for the glow only.
Exactly.
So you can get a few of the things that you can get at this time include, like, you can get Botox at this time. I'll start with the invasive ones, and then I'll go to the more non-invasive ones. So you can get Botox today or tomorrow, because it starts kicking in after 4 to 5 days. So you can get the results by Eid day or the next day. But mostly you should have, ideally you should have get it done 2 weeks, at least 10 to 12 days before. So after that, you could have done fillers for the plumping effect, or for the filling up the hollow spaces on your face, like temples or cheeks, or if you want to have lip plumping and things like that. But I think that time is also over now. You shouldn't go for them now, or you will be bruised and you will be having so much bruises on your face and swelling. Yes.
But thank you so much, Dr. Safia, for being with us, because we're short on time. But you know, for all our people who are out there, the best part is that Dr. Safia actually brought her bag alongside her because she wants to give us Eid. So. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. And for everybody who's out there who's asking for new notes, please don't call me for new notes. My father is no longer working in the bank.
Right. Okay, so now we will move on to another interesting news in which 2 snow leopards were seen chasing each other. A video has been captured of 2 snow leopards chasing each other down a steep snow-covered slope, navigating the treacherous terrain effortlessly. And I think the laws of the gravity do not apply to them the way they are chasing. The leopards show agility and power as they leap and move with the perfect balance, turning the icy mountainside into their personal playground. Thanks to their long bushy tails and massive cushioned paws, the snow leopards are able to stay steady as they playfully pursue one another. This is such an interesting news, and snow leopard has been an endangered species for quite some time, Shahzad, and we have seen that, you know, how they're chasing each other. That gives us a sigh of the relief that yes, you know, they're flourishing in some, you know, treacherously terrain where humans access is not that much, but alhamdulillah for, you know.
And you know, the way that they have so much of agility, no matter what they are doing, even if they fall down, like, I don't know, from, you know, 500 meters, they'll still save themselves. And even if they're hurting, they might not even choose for painkillers. I think because Allah has actually kept, you know, a very superb sort of a mechanism in our body that it heals itself as well. And there's more dependency on painkillers. Hi, meri bazu mein dard ho raha hai, mujhe painkiller de do. And you know, we kind of self-prescribing all of these painkillers. There are newer treatments which are coming out, made before arthritis. You know, there are these, I don't know, what they do is they take out your blood and then inject it back. You know, so we have an expert over here, so we'll ask him what those treatments are. So we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by Dr. KHAWAJA Sajid Aslam Sahab, who happens to be a consultant orthopedic surgeon. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here. So, sir, very quickly, let's move on towards the alternate treatments which are available instead of using painkillers. And the damage of painkillers, for example, arthritis.
No, I just heard you were talking about PRP, taking the serum and PRP. Injecting again.
Rich plasma.
That's what calls PRP. Is quite good business for orthopedic surgeons because money making. And
is it effective?
Especially for such countries where the education is not so good, third world countries.
Okay.
It's a good money.
So do you recommend PRP, or you do not recommend PRP?
But there is no evidence.
Okay.
I mean, I stayed half of my life in West, and I never heard since the last 4 or 5 years when I came in Pakistan, and I heard that PRP is a booming thing in orthopedic surgery.
And Dr. Saab, we've seen that, you know, in Pakistan we have this habit of, you know, like Shahzad mentioned, over-medication, right? And we are self-medicating a lot, right? Even for small, flu, fever-like symptoms, you know, we just go and take the medicine. How damaging is that, or is it just a myth that you need to bust? You know, what is your opinion on that?
That's the reason we are doing this program, for the
of course,
public awareness, for the
that.
Health awareness. People who are socio-economic life is good, not so good, poor people. You just heard from the lady working in their house, oh, my aunt, she also had a pain in the knee joint. Let's start this medication, this oil, and she was doing well. So people started to do these things. It's very, very pathetic thing that people spend a lot of money on their clothes, on their cars, on their house, but least important is education and health.
Exactly.
And if you are not healthy, you cannot enjoy your car.
True.
If you are not educated, you spoil
nobody else is going to enjoy your company as well, so it's rather best to kind of go and, you know, seek advice from an expert.
I think this is one very important point, Dr. Saab, and which I find is that, you know, women are more susceptible to these bone health problems, or frail bone health problems, right? Number one, relate to us, you know, why are women more, if so, right, in the first place, why are more women vulnerable to this particular condition, and what are some of the therapies or recommendations would you give as a physician, as an expert in this field?
Actually, statistically, there is no difference between male and a female except certain problems like osteoporosis more common.
Yes.
We do have
females
vitamin D
after-
deficiency nationwide.
Well, vitamin D deficiency is male, female, children, all.
Yeah, does
is
not
of-
matter, yeah.
50% of Pakistan population. But there is no gender difference in arthritis as far
But
as.
osteoporosis is a problem, sir, right?
Osteoporosis is entirely different thing. So see, another money making in orthopedic
Yeah.
surgery, that people believe that osteoarthritis is same like osteoporosis. These are entirely two different diseases, entirely different treatment for them.
Okay, and sir, now, okay, so now I've identified, your personality, and it's really honest and loyal, and you want to do good for people. So let me ask you this question, that, how many times do you think that majority of the doctors over here, may them be in any field, are really authentic with the medications that they prescribe? Now imagine that I went to see an orthopedic doctor for my father, for his knee, and she said, hey, you know what, there's these gel injections, and you need to get these gel injections and give them to my mother and whatnot. But I do see how they're trying to sell their product. Now imagine that one injection actually costed 80,000 rupees. I went on to look into it, and I asked people who have been already injected by her. They said it was of no use. How do you think doctors are actually behaving as butchers most of the time?
Well, it's easy to blame, isn't it? Problem lies always on both sides. It's not only the
हमें तो
doctors who
टीका
are-
आपने जो
it's
लगाना
not-
हमने तो लगवा लेना है ना, मतलब
No,
वो
no,
तो
no,
प्रॉब्लम तो
no,
फिर वहाँ से शुरू हो जाती
no,
है.
that's what I'm trying to
Sure.
tell you. It's not the problem with the doctors, it's a problem with the patient as well.
Okay.
I mean, you have the life, whole world in your hands, the mobile.
But
whole
it
world
is
in your,
misleading,
you can just
right?
Google it, you can find it out. Any evidence for this problem?
But sir, we
what
go to
is
the
your
doctors so
disease?
that we do not have to look at the
You know,
Google, na?
majority of patients
Yeah.
who come to me in clinic with hip and knee problem, they always come after seeing 10 or 15 doctors. They say, always I have seen whole the city.
Yeah.
But if you ask directly question, single question, how much you know about your problem? Don't
Yeah,
know
they might
anything.
not know.
They say, doctor doesn't
That
tell
is
me.
why we are coming to you, right?
That's what they say, doctor never told me. How it's possible you visit 10 different doctors, you paid money for them,
Yeah.
and you never ask them what is the diagnosis for my problem? So it's not the problem only lies with the doctors, it's the problem with the patient as well.
Okay.
It's patient's duty to ask.
Exactly.
You are there, you travel from your home, you paid the consultation fees, you waited there, you came for certain purpose.
True.
You have to ask a doctor.
Right.
Unless you force the doctor to ask what is the problem, why I came here, I will not stand from this chair unless you tell me what is my problem.
Yeah.
He will tell you.
Right.
Otherwise, he will not even make an eye contact.
But if we were able to kind of figure out, what was going wrong with us, I think, we might not even need doctors, and we could look for solutions on Google. But sir, because we are talking about how there are, some non-surgical interventions with which you can actually help your knee and hip issues, do you agree to that there are and they are effective?
Everybody, nobody wants surgery.
Yeah,
Nobody wants.
Yes,
Even surgeons, they don't want to do any surgery unnecessarily.
true,
But the problem is when you really need it, you have to get it done.
true.
Arthritis, in the beginning, it's managed with non-operative treatment, always. But because it's a progressive disease, once it's advanced, you have to get surgery. And surgery is the main solution. But the problem lies because surgical intervention for hip and knee is expensive. Total hip or total knee replacement is quite expensive. Not all people can afford it.
Exactly.
So people always try to go give me some medication, I'll come all right.
मैं
And
ठीक गुजारा कर लूँगा.
this thing does not exist.
गुजारा.
This does
Right.
not
I
And-
think ये
and
हमारा
I
कॉमी खेल भी है सर माजरत के साथ गुजारा करो.
I think, Dr. Saab, so now let's also explore some of the latest treatment which are available for the hip and the knee arthritis. As an expert in the field, what would you recommend?
Well, just I convey a message to the people as well.
Sure, sure.
Many people believe that arthritis is a problem with the knee joint. There are plenty of problems, but problem with the knee joint is related to your age, and it will go with you till death.
Really?
It's not true. There's always treatment for that.
Okay.
Okay.
And people believe that once you get any hip operation, DHS or screw or any fixation, once it's first operation done, and if it's failed, you cannot get another operation.
Really?
Then this is also absolutely wrong.
Okay.
So once there is always a treatment, but the problem, again I would say, is a patient's duty to find the proper doctor who has expertise for that. For example, if any doctor who never did hip replacement, who never did a revision surgery after the first
Right.
operation of hip, and you go there as a patient, he will always tell you, no, just take medication, painkiller, just live with that, there is no treatment for it. So this is a duty of the patient to
True.
find out who is the expert person in our town or another city.
And there's a simple way of doing that.
Medicine has been changed. People believe that we have new cars and new setup, but medicine is still same old style. It's not like that.
Oh, interesting.
plenty of things. I mean, if I go back to my time, 20 years ago or 30 years ago, many procedures never existed before. So, minimal invasive surgery with only
Keyhole surgeries,
one
yes.
centimeter cut and total hip replacement. You know, I can replace whole femur. I can replace whole leg.
With minimal invasive
And
surgery.
if there is a cancer there, I don't need to amputate.
Interesting.
So there are plenty of things, but this is duty of patient to find out
Who
is
the
expert.
right man is for the job for the job as well.
Exactly.
And once again, an interesting story over here, because for people who are actually suffering from these issues and their doctors have actually told them that you need surgery, I think it's about time to think, because imagine that we have one of the fastest bowlers on this planet who lives within Pakistan. He's the legendary Mr. Shoaib Akhtar. He's got his knees replaced almost 6 times in this lifetime. And for the latest knees that he has received, he's been running on them, and he actually clocked them as well. So it was 10,000 kilometers. So people, you know, Dr. Saab has actually said it very rightly, that you really need to look for the right people. And the way to do it is that you go to those patients who've been treated by those doctors, and then you see the results. So if you think that, you know, they are convincing, go to that doctor.
Right.
If you think that that's not convincing, look for another one. But thank you so much, Dr. Saab, for
Thank
being
you
with
so
us. Lovely to be in
Thank you.
conversation with you. For everybody who's out there, you want to say something?
Of course, and I think it's very important that you need to have a literacy for the doctors that you go, like Dr. Saab mentioned, and one of the barometers that he suggested is that make sure that you ask the doctors that how many surgeries have you done in that particular area in which you want to get it done. If that is none of the surgery, but I think that is also some sort of a wake-up call that you know how you need to go about it. And obviously, at the end of the day, Allah is Al-Shafi, Shifa comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But as a human beings, it is also a responsibility that we look after our health in the first place.
Exactly. So please make sure that you write to us at worldthismorning@pdb.com.pk. Until next time, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Allah Hafiz. Ramazan Mubarak.
Allah Hafiz. Until next time.